Hello, this is today's live walk, and we are in St. Peter's Basilica. We just did our weekly family confession. There were 9 confessionals open today. There's more confessionals open than there are visitors. It's just us. I see no other visitors in St. Peter's Basilica. There's 2 people, us. Those are workers up there.
None.
Yeah, none. None more people.
I'm not looking none.
Oh.
So.
We're laughing, but you can't see through the mask. What did I want to talk about? Oh, today's Thursday, so we do family confession every Thursday. Also, today is new podcast dropping. So you can go to my website, thecatholictraveler.com/podcast, or you can just go to thecatholictraveler.com, click on podcast. Today's episode is about St. Paul Outside the Walls, and it was recorded at St. Paul Outside the Walls. I think it's a really good one, and there's even some music in it, some live organ music. If you can, this would be a huge help because this is a new podcast. If you could go, you can click over to iTunes from my website and give it a rating. 5 stars is best. But that helps the algorithm so that people can find our new podcast. Oh, Mass is beginning. All right, I'm gonna flip you around and show you an empty St. Peter's because it's just insane. All right, here we go. This is the Baldacchino. This isn't gonna be like a full tour or anything. I'm just gonna walk around and point out a couple things. Here is the ancient statue of St. Peter. This was in the original basilica. It was built under Constantine. So this original church is built in the 4th century, and this statue was in that original church. So when they rebuilt St. Peter's, they included the statue. So usually you can go up to the statue, rub or kiss the foot, but because of Corona, they have it blocked off. But you can see how well worn the foot is after. Let's see if I can zoom in. Yeah, this is a bronze statue, and look how worn away it is. Both feet, actually, from just centuries of people kissing and touching. So this is barricaded off. Sometimes they move these barricades around. Back there are the confessionals. So they're set up in a special section, only open to people going to confession. Oh, there's another lady back there going to confession. And so there's actually a separate entrance inside the basilica to go to confession. That loud noise is construction work. They're always doing something here. And because this church is so huge, the sound just echoes. So this baldacchino, this big canopy, is directly over the main altar. So that's the papal altar. And then below that, down here in the crypt, it seems weird to call it a crypt because the church is so big, but down there are the bones of St. Peter. And let's see if I can zoom in again. Okay, so right behind that wall, the bones of St. Peter. And if you see that gold box, that is where they keep the pallium for new archbishops. So we're about to have, no, we're not about to have the new archbishop thing. That's June 29th. We're about to have a consistory. Anyway, that's where they keep the palliums that all archbishops wear. Behind this, you'll see that bright window. That's the Holy Spirit window. It's the altar of the chair, done by Bernini. Bernini also did this baldacchino. Here's the lectern. You can see they are setting up for a mass back here. Or are they taking down? I don't know. You can see crucifix. Oh, they have the rosary here daily now. So there's a painting of Mary. I think it's Undoer of Knots, maybe. There's a ladder. Yeah, you can see work being done. Where's the guy? Oh, wow, yeah. Can you see that guy? This gives you an idea of how big this thing is, this altar of the chair. The wingspan of that dove is 7 feet. So the chair is huge, those statues are huge, and you get a great perspective now because you can see a dude over there working. Huh. That is crazy. I've never seen anyone up there. I mean, I knew that it was giant, but seeing it like this is incredible. Huh. Yeah, he's just chilling. All right. So around the main altar, we have 4 statues. Veronica. Well, I'm not in a good position so you can see the other ones. Walk over here. Andrew. Longinus, and Helen. So above them, those little balconies are reliquary chapels. So they used to keep relics up there. Now they keep the relics stored somewhere else. But above this one, they had the spear that pierced Christ's side. They still have that. They bring it out once a year during Lent. Over here, St. Helen, in the chapel above, they had a piece of the true cross. We'll come back to that one. That's the coolest one. Over here, St. Andrew, so Peter's brother, they used to have his head up there, but it was given to the Orthodox Church as kind of a sign of goodwill, hoping that they would come back to the faith. And they were like, thanks for the head, Pope. They did not come back, but now they have the head. So this one, Veronica, St. Veronica, here they have Veronica's veil. A little dispute about that, if it's the authentic one or not. But every year during Lent, they will take the veil to that balcony and it'll be on display for only 60 seconds. 60 seconds a year, you get to see Veronica's veil. And the reason they do that, it keeps it special. They also don't let anybody get close to it because they don't want anybody to verify it, probably. Over here, and this is blocked off too, they have masses that go on here. This is the altar of St. Joseph. It's also where Peter was crucified upside down. That would have happened like just on the other side of that wall. But under that tomb, or under that altar, is the tomb of St. Simon and Jude. So we have Peter here, Simon and Jude as well. All right, let's start walking. Biggest church in the world. It's the length of 2 football fields from door to altar. More tombs over there. Gregory the Great. Raphael's Transfiguration is right here. This is actually a copy. This is the mosaic copy. His painting is in the museums. We have another pope over here, Innocent the 9th, I believe. You can see his body is on display, but he has the death mask on. I'm sorry, Innocent the 11th. I always get that wrong. If you look closely, you'll see the little tiles that make this mosaic. Incredible that they were able to recreate pretty much all the paintings here in mosaic form. All right, so as we're walking, a reminder that I have a Patreon page. You can access that through my website, and that really helps right now because, as you can see, let me just spin you around. It's 10 a.m. St. Peter's completely empty. Completely. So I don't have any work. This is my work now, showing you around Rome with these live videos, which are all free, but I can only do that because of the generosity of people that have offered to support me during this time. So if you're able, Patreon is a huge help. Over here, I don't want to go back there because they're having mass. This is the wedding chapel. So it is possible to get married in St. Peter's Basilica. And it happens in that chapel. And they also have masses there throughout the day. Over here, I'm not going to take you around the barricade to get there, but that is the Adoration Chapel. So if you're ever here and you notice people in the know walk by and they kneel like I'm doing now, a little genuflection, a little genuflection. It's because that's where the Adoration Chapel is. More statues along the way. A crazy thing about the size of this church, you'll notice these statues here have statues above them. They look to be about the same size, right? They're not. The ones above, I'm saying this on video now, I don't remember the exact measurement.
7 feet.
7 feet? 3 feet?
I don't know.
Oh goodness. That's the problem with live stuff and
and
being out of out of practice. I haven't given a St. Peter's tour since February. Anyway, it's like either 7 feet or 3 feet bigger. And they did that so that it wouldn't completely overwhelm people. So the perspective looks like they're the same height. And these are all founders of religious orders. At some point, I'm going to do a better St. Peter's tour, not just like a live walkthrough after confession, and I'll have more details. Oh, look, there's 2 more visitors, 3 more visitors, 5 more visitors. Wow, place is getting busy. All right, and other than construction work, it's also completely silent in here. Over here, we have the tomb of St. John Paul II. So when he died, he was buried in the crypt. You can see his name on the tomb there. He was buried in the crypt like many of the other popes. And then when he was beatified, they brought his body up here. And they knew that he would be a popular destination. So they placed him up here so people could access easier. Over here, this is a favorite of mine, the tomb of Pius X. Let's go have a look at Pius X. So you can actually see his body in here as well. This was the very first spot 21 years ago, almost to the day, where I went to Mass in St. Peter's. I was with a priest friend of mine, Father Augustin Tron from Atlanta, and we celebrated Mass right here. So there's the body of Pius X. You can see he has the iron death mask on, his hands are covered, but he's in there. Okay. Now, one more thing to show you. Kind of show you some of the church along the way too. Here's a this is the holy water font, but this little face always makes me laugh. So these are, taller than a grown man, but being in the church, they look pretty tiny. This is the holy water font, by the way, empty, of course. But you can see the one over there. You can see how small it looks compared to the church. But really, it's giant, so that it fits in with everything. All right, over here is the Pietà, designed by Michelangelo. And it's small compared to most stuff in here because it wasn't meant to go in this basilica. It was designed for the earlier church, which was a bit smaller, and would have been placed on an altar. And so you'll notice, I didn't really point it out as we were walking, but the altars all face the wall ad orientem, so they face liturgical east. Not necessarily geographical east, because that would be impossible since there's altars facing all the walls in here, but liturgical east. So when the priest would elevate the Eucharist at Mass, it would look like Jesus was falling off of Mary's lap into the host, basically saying this becomes this. So I really like that. It's behind glass here, you'll notice, and that's because a long time ago in the 70s, some crazy guy attacked it with a hammer, broke off a few pieces. So it is now locked away. You have to have special access to get in through this door over here. This is also where the Holy Father vests for the papal liturgies. So they set up tables back here with the vestments on them. Let me show you one other thing over here because it's just kind of a cool detail. So I've mentioned this before, but the Holy Father does not live in the Apostolic apartment. He lives in a hotel in Vatican City. But this door, you can see through the window here, there's a little grate. That's actually an elevator that goes up to the papal apartments. So in the old days, the Pope could just walk from his apartment to the elevator, take the elevator down to St. Peter's, and then he would pop out in here, get vested, and have Mass. So I'll leave you with John Paul II. Well, no, I'm not going to leave you because then we're going to go outside. But if you want to say a prayer real quick at the tomb of John Paul II. Okay. And we just missed the bells outside. I don't know if you heard them. Everybody loves the bells. So we won't have bells for another 15 minutes, unfortunately. Okay, I'm gonna go to the center here. Let you see the Basilica again before we head out into the piazza. So people often ask why these barricades are up. They are here for crowd control mostly. So they're up pretty much year round. Sometimes they'll take them down when they're cleaning or something.
Yeah, I really need that right now.
Yeah, they really. But you see, this is the entrance. That's where you come in. So they want people to go by the piazza, John Paul II, Adoration Chapel, up there where the confessionals are, around the baldacchino, and then exit this way and out the door. So that's really why this is here. But when the Holy Father has Mass here, in normal times, they have chairs set up all along the side there, all along the side there. He gets vested right over there. They have this big curtain set up. And then when he comes out, they open the curtain. He processes to here and down the center aisle. A few more people in here now. Let's see if I can go wide for you. Nope, it doesn't let me switch to the wide angle lens. Wait, let me try again. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. The wide angle lens. So now you can see just how massive this place is. And like I said, I'll do a more proper St. Peter's tour at some point. This is just our post-weekly family confession walk out the church. Let me zoom in again. There we go. Okay. All right. Now we'll take you outside. Over here you can see they're starting to set up for the Nativity. So that's the baptismal font over there. And then every year during Advent they set up this beautiful Nativity, and I will definitely be showing you the Nativities of Rome starting in, I guess, about 2 weeks. But the one here, usually it snows, like they even have snow, and it goes from day to night. Really beautiful. All right, let's head outside. Beautiful day in Rome today. Blue skies, crisp air. Like even this portico here is bigger than most churches. Look how big this is. And empty. Again, it's after 10 now. You have the desk set up over there with the tourist headsets. Normally, way in the distance over there, can I zoom again? Yeah, there, where that guy is standing, he's a worker. But that's where the line is for the dome. There's nobody at the dome. I've seen a couple people that I know go up in the last few days. They were the only ones at the top. Only ones on the stairs, only ones in the dome. And now here's St. Peter's Square. Again, 10 a.m. usually would be quite full of people. But it's not. Yeah, let's go down the steps real quick. I don't want to do like filming security or anything, so. All right, so out. Now I can show you, this is where the Swiss Guards stand. They have a little office right there. So they do the changing of the guards a couple times a day. The bells that you love so much are right up there under the clock. There's a Vatican car. You can see the license plate has SCV on it. So all Vatican cars have that license plate. It stands for the city-state of the Vatican. SCV. I guess that would be State City Vatican. Here's the post office. There used to be another post office on the opposite side, so under the columns over there. But they have converted that to something for the homeless. So as you probably know, Pope Francis put in showers a few years back. He has a barber come once a week, I think. Free haircuts and shaves. They're now doing testing, COVID testing. There's an ambulance always parked over there. And so that's where they all gather during the day. All the ones that live in this area is in that old post office. Bathrooms, hard to find in Rome, but the Vatican has lots of bathrooms here. So these are the ones that are for the piazza. Right here. There's also bathrooms in the church. Like you have to, if you're in the church, you would just go downstairs. I tell people that because if you leave where we just left, if you exit right there, you would have to go all the way back to the beginning to get in, line up again, which now is nothing. It takes literally like 4 seconds to get through security. But in normal times, the wait, even around this time of day, could be an hour, in the high season, maybe even 2 hours. So you definitely don't want to leave until you're ready to exit. This obelisk here, I mentioned when we started, near the beginning, St. Peter was crucified just on the opposite wall of where the tomb of Simon and Jude, where that tomb is. So if you look at the clock and you go back, I don't know, maybe 50 yards or so, that is where Peter was crucified, and it was beside this obelisk. So this obelisk was originally from Egypt. It was brought here and it was placed in Caligula's circus, or Nero's circus, which was right beside the Vatican. So this was a hill. This was like a kind of an area on the outskirts of town, but it was Caligula's circus. And so when Peter was crucified, he was crucified upside down in that circus. So if you think like Circus Maximus, it just means like a big field. They didn't have like dancing monkeys or anything. But it was right over there. So that would have been the last thing Peter saw as he died, probably that obelisk. So then they buried him in a nearby, just like a shallow grave on the hill. And other tombs sprung up around there. And then when Constantine legalized Christianity in the 4th century, he had a church built over that spot. And what he did was, since this was a hill, he leveled the hill and he used all the dirt to fill in the tombs that were there. So that could be the foundation for the church, because he wanted the church over Peter's grave. And so that's why this really isn't much of a hill anymore. But then in the 1940s, they were doing some work below the church, and they found some of those graves that were filled with dirt. And they didn't quite know what they found at the time. And then they saw some graffiti that said, basically, so-and-so buried near Peter. And that's when they realized that the church truly was built on Peter's tomb. And so, you know, there's a great story about how they had to secretly do it, because Hitler, if he had known they would have found, if he had known they had found Peter's tomb, he probably would have come to Rome and taken Peter's bones. So they had to just sneak out dirt every day as they were excavating. But eventually they did find a tomb with graffiti again written on it that said, basically, here's Peter. And they opened the tomb, they found bones wrapped in purple cloth, so the color of royalty. The bones were from a man with a big build. Peter was a fisherman, so he was probably a bigger guy. And the thing that really showed them that this was Peter was the bones were missing the feet bones. So I mentioned he was crucified upside down. The best way to get someone off an upside down cross is to chop off their feet, and their body just falls to the ground. So over here then, the obelisk, in the 1500s, they decided to move it to the center of the piazza they were building. And as you can imagine, it's not easy to move a big chunk of granite. And so it took hundreds of men, hundreds of horses, months to get it from right back there to right here. And as they were getting ready to lift it onto that pedestal there to put it up, the engineer in charge told the Pope, he said, I need silence while I'm doing this, because if something goes wrong, the obelisk could fall and break, and it might kill some people. And so the Pope said, okay, I can help you with that. And he said to the people that if anybody makes a sound, they would be killed on the spot. He brought out a guillotine. This is back when the Pope had a personal executioner, so it didn't really shock many people that that could happen. But as they were lifting it into place, you can imagine hundreds and hundreds of people out here, no cars, no police cars. They were lifting it up using ropes and pulleys and things like that. And just as it was getting to the highest point, the ropes started to tear. And there was a guy in the crowd from northern Italy. He was actually a fisherman. And he knew from his time on boats that if ropes got too hot, too tight, and started to tear, the best thing to do was to put water on them. And so, knowing he would be put to death, he shouted out to the guy in charge to put water on the ropes. And so they brought out water, put it on the ropes. They were able to save the ropes, save the obelisk, save all the people. Unfortunately, it meant death for him. So they brought him to the Pope, and so that the Pope could put him to death. But instead, the Pope said, I would like to reward you for your bravery. You knew that you could be put to death for speaking up, yet you did it, saved the obelisk, saved the people. I'm sure the obelisk was the most important, not the people. So that's why I keep putting that first. You saved the obelisk and the people. And so to reward him, the Pope said, what could I do for you? And the guy said, well, my family has a palm tree farm in Genova. We would love it if you would use our palms for Palm Sunday this year. To this day, 500 years later, the Pope's palms at Palm Sunday still come from that very farm. And every year for Palm Sunday Mass, not this year, usually, the Pope starts at the obelisk. He's presented with the palms, and he processes up there, and the Mass takes place outside. What a gorgeous day.
Then he killed him.
He did not kill them. Oh, we're going to be out here for the bells. This is longer than I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be like a 5-minute St. Peter's walking tour. So we're going to stay for the bells. Over there, we have some Vatican offices, some apartments. That building, I don't know if I can point. Let me see. You're going to see my finger come down from the heavens, maybe. What the heck is my finger? Where's the camera? Oh, whoop. I don't know what I'm doing. There's my finger. Okay, there's my finger. That building right there, the triangular roof, that is the Sistine Chapel. So you may recall that from the last conclave, all the cameras were on the chimney, which is only put in during the conclaves. No chimney up there now. But that's the Sistine Chapel. There's an icon of Mary right there. See that? That was put in by John Paul II. He was shot during a papal audience in this piazza, and he looked up. He was looking for Mary to comfort him. There was no Mary in St. Peter's Square. You see there are 144 statues lining these columns. Just go all the way around here. These are all different saints. No Mary. So John Paul II changed that and had that icon put in after he was shot. And then we have the Apostolic Palace right there, that big squared off building. So that's where the Pope's office is. There's a lot of other offices in there. That's where official business happens. But in the case of Pope Francis, he does not sleep there. That's not where he lives. So he lives back over there. So still within the walls of the Vatican, but not at the palace. Bell should be ringing any second now. So we'll definitely stay for that. And then I'll let you get on with your day. Again, please go listen to my podcast. And if you can, listen to the bells. $10:30. You can see over here they're getting ready to set up the nativity and the Christmas tree. So that'll be lit in just a couple weeks, I think. We're getting that all prepared. So as I was saying, please, the podcast, CatholicTraveler.com/podcast. You can go to iTunes and find it. And it'd be a huge, huge help if you could give it a rating. We've had almost 1,000 listens to the podcast already, but only about 20 ratings. So it'd be a huge help if we could get more ratings, just so that it would move up the charts so that more people can find it. And that's it. That's it. Well, let me show you this. The Colonnade. So Bernini designed these columns. You see the columns go all the way around. Almost looks like arms reaching out and hugging the crowd. You'll notice, easier to see on that side, there are 4 columns deep. You see how there's 4 columns? It is a perfect half circle. So if I'm standing here, we'll look at the ones on this side now, you can kind of see the 4 columns, especially as we move over that way. They don't quite line up, but there is a spot right in the center of that half circle, right here. Center of the colonnade. And if you stand here, all the columns on this side perfectly line up. This was done 400 years ago without computers, without machines. It's amazing they were able to do that. All right, now I'm done. Now I'm done. If you enjoyed this and you can become a patron, that would be a huge help to me and my family. I'll continue doing these daily live walks as long as I can and show you the parts of Rome that I love and bring you with me when I go to confession. Though not live when I'm at confession. All right, let's turn this around and say ciao, Amelia.
Ciao.
Ciao. See you tomorrow, I guess.